Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Very intriguing games on Friday night. Michigan State traveling to Oregon, UNLV, who we know is ranked, playing as well on Friday. But what I want to do is what I did last week in the Thursday show, and that's kind of do quick hitters on my official best bets and picks for week 6 of college football. Worth noting, the picks go up every Wednesday at AaronTorresOnline.com. And it's also worth noting, picks against the spread were 5-1 last week. Only a Peyton Thorne interception late in the game, a pick six, cost us a 6-0 week. That made the over go over, so that was Torres was not very happy at that point, but the picks are hot, 18-8 overall. And I'll say this, I know going into college football this weekend, there's a lot of thought, oh, it's a little bit of a quieter game, only one top 25 matchup. I'm here to tell you, that's when stuff gets crazy, and there are a few underdogs that I think are very interesting this weekend. So let's go ahead and dive in. Should mention, by the way, the picks were made on Wednesday. All of these point spreads and over-under totals are reflective of what they were on Wednesday. Some of you listen on Thursday, some on Friday. Lines change. But here are my official picks for week 6 of the college football season. First pick, it is that top 25 matchup in College Station, Missouri at Texas A&M. Texas A&M on Wednesday, a 2.5-point favorite at home. The over-under set at 48.5. Bottom line, I actually like the under in this game quite a bit. Said it on the College Football Betting Pod. I am amazed that Mike Elko, in just a couple months, it's not always pretty, but the bottom line is Mike Elko has turned Texas A&M into a consistent program. They run the ball well. They stop the run. They get stronger as games go on, as we saw last week against Arkansas. They don't throw the ball very much, and that's where I think the under in this game comes into play. They control the clock. Missouri, by the way, number 1 in time of possession in the SEC. You look at how both teams want to control the clock. Both teams want to run the football. Yes, the Missouri pass game is a little bit more explosive, but we'll see. This is their first true road game. Does Eli Drinkwitz let Brady Cook and Luther Burden loose on the road? So to me, this has the markings of a super low scoring game, SEC on the road for Missouri. First game, A&M doesn't even want to throw the ball. Give me the under of 48.5. Let's keep it going. My second pick, let's go to the 3:30 Eastern window. How about this? The Big Ten on CBS. We're still getting used to that. Gary Danielson, Brad Nessler are in Columbus, Ohio this weekend. Iowa State at Ohio State. Ohio State, a 19.5-point favorite in this game. I actually like Iowa to cover, okay? Now, this isn't a knock on Ohio State. I know I've been critical of Ryan Day, but listen, they are really good. They are rolling. That offense is running the ball. Remember, Chip Kelly is now Ohio State's offensive coordinator and play caller. They brought him in to establish the run game. Quinshon Judkins has been great. Travion Henderson has been great. Will Howard has been great, both in the run and pass game. Go look at those Jeremiah Smith highlights from just a couple days ago, okay? But at the same time, Iowa, first of all, is actually scoring points this year. They're averaging like 31 a game, which for any other team in America would be like averaging 60 a game, but they're also playing really good defense. Number 4 defense in America. They stop the run. They're one of only 2 teams in college football that has not given up a rushing touchdown this season. So when I look at this game, it has, to me, 24-13 written all over it, 24-10, 23-16, something like that. I think Ohio State wins. Also worth noting, remember, Ohio State a week from now goes to Oregon in a game that we're all excited about. I'm not saying they look ahead, but I think if they can keep it conservative, get out of here with a low-scoring victory, they do it. I like Iowa State plus 19.5. I think it's way too many points. Let's stay in that 3:30 window, and let's go to the Deep South's oldest rivalry, but a team that only a mother could love right now. Georgia, a 24.5-point favorite in the Deep South's oldest rivalry against Auburn. So I'll be transparent. I actually like Auburn to cover in this game. Now, I don't think they're going to win, But if we're talking best bets, just think about Auburn. I want to welcome a new sponsor to the Aaron Torres pod, Blue Chew. Fellas, remember back in the day when you were always ready to go? Well, things change. You got a lot on your mind. Your football team isn't very good. Well, here's the good news. That's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost and in chewable form. To get started, it's so easy. Just go to bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. No awkward trip to the doctors, no waiting at the pharmacy, no stink eyes, no raised eyebrows, nothing. Thing is, though, I know a lot of you are probably wondering, Torres, does it actually work? Do you think I need to try it? Well, here's the deal. Try it for a month for free, and I think there will be no turning back, all right? You'll love it. Your partner is going to love it. Your football team may stink, but you'll be rocking like the 85 Bears between the sheets. So go ahead, try it out, and here is the great news. We have a special offer for listeners of the Aaron Torres pod. You can try Blue Chew for free when you use the code Torres at checkout. All you got to do is pay $5 in shipping. Go to bluechew.com, use promo code Torres at checkout. You get Blue Chew for free for a free month, and you only have to pay $5 shipping. Again, visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. Thank you to Blue Chew for sponsoring the Aaron Torres podcast. We could criticize Auburn, and we're going to be talking about them in a minute. But at the same time, if you look at Auburn, remember that this is a team. They lead college football in turnovers, but it appears to at least be getting better. But what you have to remember, if they literally only threw 2 turnovers instead of 4 against Cal, they win that game. I'm not saying they should have beat Arkansas, but they were obviously 4 or 5 turnovers in that game. If you take care of the football, you probably have a chance to win it. And then the Oklahoma game was in the bag. All Peyton Thorne had to do was not throw a pick 6 in that exact moment, and they probably win. What does he do? Throws a pick 6 in that exact moment. So to me, this is a team that easily could be 4-1. If they're 4-1, we're not talking about them as a 24.5-point underdog. So I just think that this game is going to be a little bit closer than people think. I'd add Georgia coming off an emotional loss last weekend, a lot of energy exerted. You know, they used to call it when Nick Saban was a coach, body blow games, where you play one of these teams, whether it is Georgia, whether it is Alabama. The next week you come out just not totally fired up. And so I know this is a big rivalry, but let's be honest, that Alabama game meant more to all 85 guys in that Georgia locker room than this game does. Georgia's going to win, but I'm not sold that the Bulldogs are quite as good as people think. Again, I know I just said it for Iowa, for the Iowa game, but 27-14, 31-17, something like that. Feels like a 2 touchdown or so margin. It does not feel like a close to 4 touchdown margin on between the hedges. Let's stay in the SEC. Let's stay in that 3:30 window. Ole Miss at South Carolina. Ole Miss is a 9.5-point favorite. The over-under on Wednesday was 53.5. Big game for Ole Miss, right? Big game for Ole Miss. This is a game that they absolutely have to have. And it's funny, right? Because we talk about this 12-team playoff era, and I think there's this notion of like, teams can lose 3, 4, 5, like whatever. And it's like, at a certain point, there is the law of diminishing returns, and at a certain point, you do have to get wins. And so that Ole Miss game was big last week. The Kentucky victory, I think, is going to carry weight on the Ole Miss side all season. And I'm just not sure what to make of Ole Miss. What I do know, they play really good defense on top of an explosive offense. But even if you look at the offense has played 3 of the worst defenses in college football this year in Georgia Southern, Wake Forest, and Middle Tennessee. 3 of the bottom 6 defenses in all of college football. Even if some of that has to do with Ole Miss, I think they can be slowed down. South Carolina, to their credit, those defensive linemen, they get after it. Ask Kentucky, ask Brock Vandagriff, ask LSU with Garrett Nussmeier. LSU is supposed to have the best offensive line in America. They couldn't stop South Carolina for big chunks of that game. Also worth noting, Lenora Sellers, the South Carolina starting quarterback, is back in this game. And so when I look at this game, you look at South Carolina. What did I just say? Great defensive front, quarterback that can make plays with his legs. team that isn't in a rush to run a lot of plays on offense, and you get the home crowd. I actually like the under more than the point total because Ole Miss can score so fast. I think that, listen, I think South Carolina can pull the outright upset. I also think it could be a 3-point game with, 2 minutes to go. Jackson Dart hits Trey Harris for a 90-yard touchdown. Boom, there goes the cover. So to me, the under feels about right. I think South Carolina's going to try to slow it down. I think both these defenses are good. I like the under of 53.5. Let's keep it going. And this is one where you have to pay attention to the Aaron Torres online picks that go up every Wednesday because Tennessee is traveling to Arkansas. As I recorded on Wednesday night, after I did my picks, Tennessee was a 12.5-point favorite. The over-under was set at 60.5. Well, guess what? Overnight, Tennessee is now a 13.5-point favorite. The under down to 58.5. But I'll be transparent. I like that under, and I would bet it even if you get it at 58.5. Because the bottom line is a couple things. One, we have talked about it so consistently with Tennessee. This idea that, everybody thinks of them as this passing offense, this, that. Go back and look at the Oklahoma game. Josh Heupel relied on Dylan Sampson, his running back. He relied on his defense. They got up early and basically took the air out of the football. I'm not criticizing Josh Heupel. I think it's awesome. And I think it shows that he truly has belief in that defense. And he truly believes I don't have to score 50 points every week to win. I think 2 years ago in 2022, when Tennessee had Hendon Hooker, they felt like they had to score. They had to score 40 to 50 to win every week. They don't have to do it this year. And so they're going on the road. Razorback Stadium is going to be crazy, okay? We talked about it on the college football betting pod. The bottom line is, I don't think Razorback Stadium gets enough credit for how loud it gets, how tough it is to play. Ask Steve Sarkisian in Texas in the 2022 season what it was like to go over there, because that was a game where Arkansas absolutely rocked them. And so when I look at this game, I just see a situation where I think Tennessee relies on its defense. They don't try to put Nico in harm's way. And Arkansas obviously wants to run the football as well. Taylon Green is struggling to complete passes, 54% completion percentage right now. I like the under in this game of, I got it at 60.5. You guys can get it at 58.5. I still think that number is way too high. I think that is maybe potentially my favorite bet of the weekend. A couple more games, we'll get out of here. How about this? The rare national championship game rematch certainly doesn't feel like a national championship game rematch. Michigan at Washington. Washington, a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under at 41.5 Saturday night in Seattle. It'll be a 7:30 Eastern, so 4:30 Pacific kickoff. Let me say this. Obviously, vibes are a lot different. No Jim Harbaugh, no Kalen DeBoer, no Michael Penix, no J.J. McCarthy, no Blake Corum, no Roma Dunze. A lot of different pieces. But when I look at this game, I actually do like Washington to win at home. Michigan, listen, we knew it was going to be a rebuild. They can't throw the football. And everybody wants to go back to that USC game. USC in that game basically gave up 3 big plays and shut Michigan down the rest of the time, okay? Michigan had to convert a 4th down on the final drive to win that game. Michigan needed a pick 6 to win that game. So if you're struggling to move the ball at home, and they did last week against Minnesota as well, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like in one of the loudest stadiums in college football. I've been critical of Jed Fish, how he left Arizona. He's a good coach. Will Rogers is balling. Washington is 3-2, worth noting. In both of their losses, they outgained the opponent. I think they win. I think the crowd makes a difference. I like Washington to win and cover the 2.5. Finally, this is one you got to stay up late for. Miami, the college game day game in beautiful Berkeley, California, baby. That's right. First time college game day is in Berkeley. Transparently, I'm kind of curious what kind of crowd they get for college game day. But Miami is a 10.5-point favorite, or at least they were on Wednesday when we did the picks. Worth noting, by the way, this opened at 12.5, down to 10.5. I like Cal to cover, and I would be careful of the potential straight up outright upset. Couple things. One, Miami coming off of a game that blatantly they probably should not have won. Weird game where we know how it ended. Cam Ward, who I like a lot, he can be a little bit turnover prone. And sometimes when you win a game that you weren't supposed to, you start to believe your own hype and you start to believe that, hey, we can pull this out every single week. I don't know that you can do that. Keep in mind also, by the way, Cal, they're coming off a loss to Florida State a few weeks ago where they largely outplayed Florida State. So you have a team that should be coming off a loss that won. You have a team that's coming off a loss that probably should have been a win on their part. And there are a couple other factors too. One, as I said, Miami can at times be turnover prone. Cam Ward, a couple interceptions this year, a fumble. Cal's like number 2, number 3 in America in turnovers forced. I do think that matters in my opinion. And the other thing, it's just a straight up situational game and a situational play. Miami, remember, after this game has a bye, they're flying cross country, got to play at 10:30 at night. They're probably not going to leave the hotel until like 8 o'clock Eastern time, going to be sitting in the hotel all day. And I think it's human nature. When you know you got a week off, it's easy to look ahead. Oh, we just got to fly out there, kick their butt, and come back and win. It's not always that easy. So you have that Cal off of a bye. I think the turnover stuff matters. If Miami wins, I think it's by less than double digits. Those are my official picks for week 6 of the college football season. Again, I will be quick. Missouri, Texas A&M under 48.5. Iowa plus 19.5 at Ohio State. Auburn plus 24.5 at Georgia. Ole Miss and South Carolina under 53.5. Tennessee and Arkansas under 60.5. It's now at 58.5. Washington minus 2.5 against Michigan. Miami at Cal plus 10.5. And a reminder, you can get all those picks at AaronTorresOnline.com. And we also have them posted on the Instagram page as well, at Aaron Torres Pod on Instagram.